oh, Morgan Freeman liked something that I did, right? Don't do that.
Hey,
don't do that.
No, we love
man.
Morgan Freeman. Yeah, but
Because if Morgan Freeman liked one of your
of
posts,
all the celebrities you could have thought of, you're like, yeah,
I like what
Morgan
that Maja
Freeman.
7th guy is doing over there on his Instagram page. He's doing a great job with the posts.
how much of hip hop has been affected by social media, and what other ramifications? Now, we've been around long enough, I believe, to see this. Is there any one thing or couple of things that you guys think have more weight when we talk about social media and the ramifications of, what comes with that as it relates to hip hop?
Social media has destroyed people's self-esteem.
Oh, okay.
That's not a hip hop thing, no.
I know, but it plays
Self-esteem
into,
with the artist?
No, it plays into the decisions that artists will make based on their view of the world. And for us being old enough to remember what it was not to have a view of everyone's daily life through our phones, if you're a young artist, I'm bad at math, so we'll just say you're following 100 people. Most people don't follow 100 people who are actively engaged in social media. Say 60 of those 100, it shows them standing next to their favorite artist, chilling at the award show. They hopping out of Range Rovers, they getting bottle service. They're on the beach with, girls with BBLs. In your mind, if you're an artist and you're trying to make it out here, it's affecting your self-esteem because you're not at those places, and you think in your mind it's and this is, we could extrapolate this towards people who aren't even artists. But if you're an artist, you see that, you think that's 60% of how of the world lives. Why am I not part of that 60%? Even though that's 1/10 of 1% of the people who have an ability to be on those stages, have those opportunities, and be financially off in a way to where you can get out of a Range Rover or Bentley or Rolls Royce. Like, it doesn't register you that they only sell 2,500 Bentleys in the entire country in an entire year. You think everybody, 60% of the people in the country, or just through your worldview in the spaces that you inhabit, should have access to those things. And so it makes artists do things that would maybe be out of their character because they think it's a shortcut to getting close to those things that are a part of their worldview.
So is it like the keeping up with the Joneses concept?
It's the keeping up with the Joneses, and it, like I said, it messes you with if you think that you're dope and you're in a space to where people should acknowledge your artistic expression,
right? And
you're still driving, a Honda Accord, which is a good car that can get you from A to B.
I ain't gonna hold you.
You know what I'm saying? You only when you go to the club, you have to stand in line and pay to get in. And nobody invites you in the VIP, and you have to be with girls that don't have money for surgery.
Right.
And it messes with your self-esteem because you think that you are not a part of the 60% worldview. Like I said, I'm throwing out numbers just because I'm not good at math, and I'm just trying to make it make sense to people who are listening in the short term right now. I think that's why you see artists do things that I think are so far out of their character, because the quicker you can get on just through spectacle. We've talked about spectacle.
Yeah, we have.
You feel like the quicker you can get to those things that you think you are owed, either you don't believe enough in your talent, or you don't believe enough in people's ability to recognize talent to where you'll stay within the integrity of the actual artistic expression that you feel. You'll be like, okay, well, let me get out here. How, we talk about people just getting out here to shake ass. Yeah. And it's a shortcut, even if it's going to only get you attention for the wrong reasons and for the short term. For some people, that's enough. I see a lot of people shaking ass and they just want the attention real quickly so they get a little bit of that light.
For me, it is nothing is special anymore. Nothing is, I don't want to use the word sacred, but I guess I can to a certain extent, because I couldn't see what Outkast, what their daily life was like when we were growing up. Mm-hmm. These guys were like superheroes that you put on a poster. So all I could see was what I saw on videos. Nothing is special anymore. We're in a situation where everything is microwaved. Even the music that you put out now, you can't sit with it long enough for it to be special because there's such an abundance of music.
This is not a hip hop problem though, man.
No, I'm just, you don't think so?
No, I mean, we're talking about social media, and granted,
I think it applies to hip hop.
Jay Moore said, and what you're saying, I can see it being hip hop.
I try to boil it down too. Yeah. But at this point, if you're 21 years old, you grew up with social media. You don't know what it is not to have it.
Right.
But
at the same, what my thing is, it's again, hip hop always is the scapegoat. It's like let's all, whether it's a TV show and we say it's love in hip hop and the show has nothing to do with hip hop. It's always somehow hip hop gets thrust into everything that's out right now
to be blamed.
But let's
but it really doesn't, in my personal opinion, it doesn't have anything to do with hip hop as far as social media.
I'm blaming social media. I'm not blaming hip hop.
But I think the conversation, Terry, is less about like why is hip hop the problem with social media, but maybe like what parts of social media have affected hip hop.
Yes, I'm not blaming hip hop when I see what he's saying though, because it's so easy just to throw it into everything. I get that part. But I'm more of what you're saying on about just how it's affected it just from a consumer standpoint and us being involved with it. And I just don't think the connection and just the fact that people used to be, we had no choice but to spend certain amount of times with things, which made us tied to a little bit more. Nothing is special anymore. Nothing stands out anymore to me because of just the oversaturation, bro. Now that could be all genres, but we just talk about hip hop. We just talking about hip hop as it stands right now.
So it's like to both your guys' point and Jay's point, I think it just comes down to hip hop we're talking specifically about hip hop, but it's a societal issue here.
There we go.
And the societal issue is that sure, there are people that hip hop artists that engage in seeing people out there that are doing better than them, and there's a self-esteem problem. There are hip-hop artists that fall into that category, but there are regular people that fall into that category too.
True.
Probably more regular people than not. I would take it even a step further to say that there's one thing that I've noticed with the kids that I teach, everybody chases numbers. Mm-hmm. And from an artist standpoint, even from an R standpoint, as from a podcast, sometimes it's hard to, if we have a week where like our numbers are lower than regular, even if the episode was good, I know that I kind of look at the episode like, man, what did we do wrong this week?
What happened this week?
What happened this week? Like, is the thumbnail off or is it something that happened like in the last couple weeks, not translating over to the newer weeks? You know what I mean? Like, or something like that. Or was a segment bad? Or are our short clips not as good this week as they were before that's driving people to that stuff? Or why are people not engaging? And a lot of times we have no control over this stuff at all. It's just like the way the algorithm moves and what the algorithm wants to reward. That affects us. That affects us as musicians. That affects me as a music producer that puts out remixes or... Mm-hmm. And, when I share one video and I think this is a really dope song, but it gets less engagement than this other video over here that I don't think is as good. So it's like, which is good, which is better, which is not, how do I maneuver that? So I think to that degree, I think it's more of a societal issue because it affects everybody. And then you got kids running around that are coming up in a world where all they see is numbers and they think that if something doesn't have high numbers, then it doesn't have value.
And what you just said about the kids and the societal standpoint, we want to bring it back around to hip hop and just artists. That mindset still can be carried over by artists. All I have to do is focus on the numbers. As I'm a creative and as I come up, even if I'm working on records in my bedroom or whatever, focus on the numbers. What does that do? That pushes the quality of the music back. It pushes the attention to detail to the music back because everything is focused on the numbers. So what can I do to get the most numbers? And that, to me, is a hindrance to the artists that are coming up because they don't care about anything but trying to get the numbers. And you see what I'm saying?
Yeah, no. And at the end of the day, the numbers aspect of everything, a lot of times I think some people that are creators and content people, artists fall into that category is they'll look, well, if I do this, it gets me numbers, right?
Right.
Mm-hmm. But at the same time, it's like, yeah, but you don't understand who you also lose at the same time while following these trends.
Right.
You may not get as many views from this video over here, but you may gain some people that really, truly respect what you're doing.
Right.
And those are the people that are going to be actual fans as opposed to people that are just going to be onlookers. And there's a difference between those two things. Social media clouds that. Social media makes it extremely hard because the numbers are right in our face. Everybody can see the numbers. Sure, we can turn the numbers off on like YouTube if we want. But, we can turn the likes off. We can do that stuff. YouTube has made that step. And I think, honestly, I'll be honest, I think it's a great thing.
Yeah. To do the turn off?
Yeah. Turn the numbers off completely so nobody can see it but you on the back end because there's so many other voices.
Do you know how devastating that would be? There are people that would go through I'm not gonna say depression, but there's some serious issues that would come with people not being able to see their numbers. Because I think people are so driven by that mug that
people be able
depression
to
is not too strong of a word to use.
do you see what I'm saying?
People will always be able to see their numbers. It's just the public that won't be able to see their numbers. That's different.
But that's the concept. It's like they can't see that I'm actually being super successful, and that bothers me. I think there's people like that.
Yeah, and I think those people in general will keep the numbers on.
Right.
Do you guys remember when it used to show how many dislikes a video had on YouTube?
Yeah.
They removed that function, but on YouTube you can still see how many people dislike your video.
Thumbs down. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But as far as engagement for the algorithm's concerned, a thumbs up is just as good as a thumbs down.
Right.
You know what I mean? So it's still engagement. I don't know. I think it would be good, like likes on a video. Like, I don't know how many times in our videos people will be like, yeah, man, look at all the comments. And I'm like, yeah, but look at all the likes. And they'll be like, yeah, look at all these people that don't agree with you. I'm like, yeah, but 5 times more people agreed with what we said.
And actually hit the like button.
And it's just like having to have that type of a conversation in a comment section with somebody. It's like, it just goes down to the trolls, and it goes, to me, again, it's not a hip hop thing, but it's a social media thing. But to me, that's the biggest thing. The biggest issue with social media is just everybody thinks that they're an expert because they have access to view. They think they have access to your analytics.
Right.
They think they can see all these things. I don't know how many students I come in and I'll tell them about what I've done and be like, yeah, what video do you have that has the most views, or how many plays does this song have on this?
I just went through this.
I'm just like, it's just like, I almost want to just kind of like sun them in a way. And I honestly, I do on a regular basis, because it's just like, you have to change that way of thinking, but it's so indoctrinated into the younger generation that it's detrimental to everything, because everything is numbers based. But that's my soapbox. So,
hey, look, there are studies that have said that people get a certain dopamine hit when they see
100%
that like, or somebody hits that heart. You can comment on someone else's page.
Yeah.
And people like your comment on their page.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, so it's like a bunch, you could almost put those hearts in a little baggie.
Yeah.
yeah.
and sell them on a corner.
It's like you walk around with them in your pocket. It's like, yeah, man, I made a comment on somebody else's page and 100 people liked it. Let me put that in my pocket and feel better about myself.
I think that's why it triggers me every time you say like, oh, that's 150 comments. I'm like, shut up, Mike. Nobody cares.
Smooth Hoosier just made a very good point, because we see this all the time. He says, funny, when a celebrity likes someone's IG story, they share it. That goes to the dopamine part. You're talking about the rush.
You mean like when somebody,
like, so somebody,
a celebrity likes them, and then they'll reshare that.
I'll take a screenshot of it and be like, yeah, man. So Morgan Freeman liked something that I did, right? Don't do that.
Hey,
don't do that. We love Morgan Freeman. Yeah, but
because if Morgan Freeman liked one of your posts,
all the celebrities you could have thought of, you're like, yeah,
I like what
Morgan
that Major Seventh guy's doing over there on his Instagram page. He's doing a great job with the posts.
It's not Morgan Freeman, man. I felt like it was different, and I'm being the old head on in this moment, but I felt like it was just different because the artists were bigger than life. Now, social media has there's a filter in there now. The wall has been torn down. It's like you feel like you know them based off what you can see on a daily basis. Now, I don't know any of these people, but you feel like you know them because you can see so many things that they share. And that's different. There was a mystery. Somebody put it in the comments. I can't remember who said it. It was a mystery to it.
Anyway, that's enough about this. This segment's not going to do anything anyways. So
too much game going on here. Too much actual conversation.
It got kind of serious and kind of helpful.